Hi there, happy Thursday. It's Stephanie with Project Vibrancy, and today I'm going to talk about skin, nutrients, and having healthy skin, having ageless skin or slowly aging skin, I guess, which, certainly there are a million great products on the market to put onto your skin and a million procedures that people do to improve the look of their skin. But nothing matters as much as what you eat in terms of having great skin and to slow down the aging process. And so I wanted to talk a little bit today about the foods that are really important for having great skin and that can slow down the aging process, and then the foods to avoid, of course, that can really take a toll on your skin. I'm very sure that none of them are going to surprise you, but I'm going to go over them anyway, just because it's nice to have reminders about why am I bothering to avoid some of these foods. So today it's going to be in the context of skin. So I'll just jump in and talk about these sort of to avoid. As I said, you probably already know what they are, and I'll go over them relatively briefly, but I want to, of course, end with what to add and how to open up your diet and add more nutrients and add more delicious foods to it, because that's what I'm all about. Even though I talk about elimination diets and I talk about the autoimmune protocol, talk about Whole30, that's what my meal plans, Project Vibrancy meals, are based on. Elimination diets get a bad rap for being restrictive because by definition, they eliminate certain foods so that you can test your sensitivity to them. However, what a lot of people discover when they embark on AIP or Whole30 is that they start eating a lot more foods than they were ever eating before. The average American eats a really sad number of, a very limited, sad and limited number of foods, and I forget, 60% of it falls under wheat and dairy, I think. And a really limited number of vegetables tends to be, bananas, apples, grapes. And then, the idea of doing an elimination diet seems restrictive when really you're encouraged to eat a bounty of different types of vegetables, a bounty of different types of wild proteins and grass-fed proteins, to seek out higher quality foods and to really open your diet up to eating more nutrients. And so I like to remind people to keep that in mind, to keep that paradigm shift in mind, that even if you're embarking on some of these improvements, what you're really doing is adding food to your diet. You're not taking away. You're shifting over to a healthier set of options away from a less healthy set of options. So I like to just remind people of that when they're thinking about doing an elimination diet. And if you are thinking about it, I do have a free Facebook group called Food Reaction Freedom, Find Your Best Foods. I will put a link to it below. You can join that group, and then I send out an email once a week that just has really good tips and information in it. And then in the group, we are at least thinking about, I put a poll in there yesterday asking if the group would together like to do an elimination diet in September and have the support of each other. So if you're thinking about doing an elimination diet, you might want to pop into that group, and we'll have the support and some information there. People can choose, you can choose all sorts of different kinds of elimination diets and decide what you want to test for, and then have that support and knowledge in there. So I'll put the link below, and you should join that group, and we'll talk about all things elimination diet. Totally fascinating. So anti-aging and skin, of course, comes down to inflammation and avoiding inflammation. We've talked about it here many times. I've probably done 3 or 4 Facebook Lives now talking about inflammation and anti-inflammatory foods, but I will just begin by reminding you of the most inflammatory foods, and it will not surprise you at all that these show up in skin problems. These are all the foods that you're kind of told to avoid if you're a teenager experiencing acne. Heck, if you're a 45-year-old woman experiencing acne, and certainly if you are noticing that your skin is suddenly aging more quickly than you think that it should be. It doesn't have to. So these are the things to sort of limit in your diet. No shockers here. Sugar. Sugar is really hard on skin. not only because of the hormonal aspect of it and the metabolic aspect of it, but there are, having a high sugar diet is really hard on the integrity of your skin and can lead to more wrinkling and, it's just not great for your health on basically every level, but it really can show up in your face. And for some people, that's a little bit more motivating than trying to imagine some, totally impossible to picture hormonal cascade happening inside your body. Sometimes being able to see the evidence in the mirror is really motivating, and there is nothing wrong with that, by the way. Whatever works and wherever you can see the effect of what you're eating and really connect with it and have it motivate you is fantastic. So skin often is a place that people really can notice. The other reason is because it's often the first place that issues start to show up, whether food sensitivities or just lack of nutrients or inflammation. So I love talking about skin with people because it really is often a first clue, and then it's very motivating for people. So sugar. In the same vein, flour, which is basically sugar as far as your body is concerned, and ends up with the same inflammatory effect, and combining the two together along with the third, which is vegetable oils, industrial vegetable oils. They are very inflammatory and are often combined with sugar and flour in processed food, and that's why eating a diet high in processed food is considered a highly inflammatory diet, because those are kind of the top three offenders, and they're often paired together into packaged foods. Fried foods fit in that same category, but they're a little bit different. Heating oil to really high temperatures damages the oil and makes it even more inflammatory, and so there is a reason to avoid and really minimize eating fried foods. And I say that as someone who loves French fries more than anything in the whole world. They're like my top. That is my favorite food. And so I do try to limit the number of times that I eat French fries, and also limit the number of times that I heat oil to a really high heat at home. I really don't do it very often, and I make sure that I'm never cooking with canola oil, with peanut oil, with safflower, with sunflower. Those oils are not a part of my diet, and I really focus on, if I'm going to cook at a little bit higher heat, I use avocado oil, refined avocado oil. And then extra virgin olive oil can be heated lightly, probably better to eat it cold. Coconut oil can be heated to medium. And if I'm going to work with medium high, other than avocado oil, I will work with a saturated fat like a lard or duck fat or chicken fat or beef tallow. All of those are stable at high heat and aren't inflammatory the way that heating vegetable oils are. So not that that's a huge endorsement for fried food, but if you are going to heat oils, those are the ones to heat. Alcohol, no surprise, having a hangover, you can see how crappy your skin looks the next day, how puffy your face gets, and how puffy your eyes get, and it's just really hard on your skin. Lots of reasons. It's hard on your gut. It's hard on your gut bacteria. It's hard on your liver, and it just causes a lot of inflammation. So, alcohol and great skin do not go hand in hand. And then dairy. And this depends on the person. Honestly, I can eat dairy occasionally, and I don't notice that it causes problems for me. I don't eat it every day. Other people notice immediately that if they eat dairy, they have breakouts, either as teens, but certainly as, any age woman or men. And then lots of issues with mucus and congestion, and those are all signs of inflammation. So if you feel those symptoms when you're eating dairy, I just, wouldn't eat a lot of it. And it's really nice if it does show up in your skin, because then you know that this is a food that is causing an inflammatory reaction for you. So I say that one, I do eat really high quality butter. It has a lot of nutrients in it. I don't have problems with it, but I do make sure that most of my fats for me are coming from avocados, avocado oil, olives, olive oil, and healthy animals, and then a little bit of grass-fed butter, basically, or grass-fed ghee, which can be another fat that you can heat a little bit more and is stable at higher heat. Ghee is clarified butter, by the way, and you can buy it in jars at the grocery store, and it's pretty bomb stuff. It's really good. So that's enough about the elimination stuff. I like to talk about what you add, and I just sort of did a little bit in terms of adding healthy fats. A low-fat diet is not going to be great for skin, even though a very healthy low-fat diet is, full of vegetables and full of healthy lean proteins. Is a fantastic diet to follow. There's no reason not to if you really enjoy eating that way. But it's always good to include some healthy fat in your diet, and you really will see it in your skin. The number one fat for me that really, I feel, changed my skin quite a lot. I had a lot of sun damage on my face when I was in my early 40s. I'm 52 now, and my skin is better now in my 50s than it was in my early 40s, without question. And one of the biggest changes that I made is I started adding fish oil, taking fish oil as a supplement, high quality fish oil. I take Nordic Naturals. It's always a brand that shows up as very well rated on various lists that look at, impurities and mercury and other problems that there can be with lower quality fish oil. So you definitely want to take a high quality fish oil. I buy it at the co-op here in the Twin Cities. You can buy it online. I store it in the freezer just to keep it as cold as possible. And that made a big difference for me. And then just making the effort to eat more fish. I eat fish probably twice a week, and it just made a giant difference in my skin. The other thing that really made a big difference for me is supplementing with collagen, with powdered collagen. I meant to grab my container of it. I just use Vital Proteins, but there are some really great brands out there. Make sure that it's grass-fed and high-quality collagen, and it absolutely has made a difference in my skin smoothness, I guess I would say, and I notice it on my body, on my arms and legs. And it's, so easy to incorporate into smoothies, or I'll even cook with it if I'm making some rice or making some oats, or, simmering something. I will add collagen to that and just cook it right into things. But anyhow, it's the sort of active ingredient in bone broth. And by the way, bone broth would fall under the same category. Adding bone broth, adding collagen to your diet really does improve skin tone. And there's some pretty interesting studies lately that show that it is true. So it's very fun and easy to supplement with. Choosing foods with a lot of deep color really is so incredibly important for their anti-inflammatory effect and the phytonutrients that are great for skin. And so another improvement that I've noticed is that I really do endeavor to include colorful foods. The colors signal a lot of things. They signal nutrient density, they signal antioxidants, they signal other phytochemicals that are really good for digestion, fiber, for gut bacteria. They're anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties, basically just looking for highly colored vegetables and fruits. And I do make a smoothie, probably 4 out of 7 days a week. A low sugar smoothie. This is not, a big gut bomb, fruit bomb kind of a thing, but I do include dark cherries and wild blueberries, and I include greens. I just buy the Power Greens, kind of blend in the clamshell container. You can also use frozen greens, but I like to sort of mix it up or use a blend so I'm not eating too much of any one type of green. And then using chlorophyll drops and really looking for dark green and dark red, dark orange vegetables, and including those deep colors every single day. So if you have heard of the Walls Protocol, Dr. Terry Walls has written a book, and it's very much a paleo-centric kind of a diet. She's got muscular, she has MS, and she has basically reversed very serious MS symptoms by really focusing on nutrient density. And her prescription is to include deeply colored vegetables and fruits every day. They're just absolutely vital. So that has made a big difference in my skin. I really notice the more that I focus on that, the better my skin is. And it's so easy to use them. Like I said, smoothies, you can blend them into soups. I've got the Healing Green Broth 30-day challenge, which is healinggreenbroth.com. It's free, and it's a great way to get dark leafy greens into your diet every day when sometimes it's just too filling to be eating all of these things. Blending them into soups and smoothies can really make it easier to add them without making you incredibly full. And then, of course, drinking a lot of water makes a huge difference. The caveat I would add to that is to make sure that you're also adding electrolytes, at least sometimes, to that water. If you've ever tried to bump up your water intake dramatically all at one time, you might notice that it makes you puffier. That's happened to me. I'll notice that I'm retaining water in my hands and retaining water in my ankles, and I can see it in my face. And the reason is that I'm diluting electrolytes by consuming almost too much water. I'm bringing my sodium and potassium, calcium and magnesium levels down too far. And so there are electrolyte drops that are not expensive. I think Rob Wolf makes one, and you can find them on Amazon. I personally just add a pinch of sodium and a pinch of potassium to my big container of water that I drink throughout the day. And then I make sure that I'm drinking filtered water. I have a big Berkey filter, which is fantastic. I love that thing. And so I'm drinking filtered water that has electrolytes added to it, at least some of the water. And then I don't have those problems, and I can, bump up to more than 8 cups of liquid a day and really get the benefits for my skin, but without having the side effect of diluting my electrolytes too much. Kind of on the flip side of that is avoiding caffeine. I guess that's another avoid. Sorry, should have put that up top. But caffeine has a really significant impact on skin, and I notice it immediately when I, go through my stages of being caffeine free, which I am right now. And I think I'm going to stay here because I really just feel so great. I have much better energy than when I am drinking caffeine, and I really notice it in my skin. I notice it in my eyes. My eyes are less dry, and I have a lot of problems with having dry eyes. So caffeine and skin are kind of not great together. And then I know you're going to ask me about supplements. What can I take for supplements? And I'd save this for the end because I want to make the raves about adding really nutrient-dense food, because that's really the most important thing. But it's hard to eat enough nutrients. It's hard for me to physically eat that much food, even if I'm drinking smoothies, even if I'm blending greens and vegetables into soups. And so I do take some supplements. I take 2 really fantastic probiotics. They are not probiotics that you can buy at the co-op. One of them is called Gut Pro. Another one of them is called ProFlora 4R. They're different from each other. One is a spore-based. The ProFlora 4R is a spore-based probiotic. The Gut Pro is a limited spectrum probiotic that really works for me. It has helped with histamine reactions, and it has just had a very anti-inflammatory effect on my digestive system. I love it. And then I've noticed that probably because of the anti-inflammatory effect of probiotics, that's really what is the most powerful about them, is that it has improved my skin. So I love both of those probiotics. I recommend them to my clients all the time. And in the wintertime, I do supplement with vitamin D and vitamin K together. If you take vitamin D, you should also take vitamin K because they work hand in hand to move calcium around your body, basically. But you don't want to be taking vitamin D without K. And vitamin K is great for skin. So a lot of preparations come with vitamin D and vitamin K together. I take them separately because I kind of vary the amount of vitamin D that I take. But I like the Pure Encapsulations brands of all of these supplements. It's a good company. I think I take a Life Extension couple, maybe vitamin K. Anyway, but making sure that you supplement with both of them together. As I mentioned, the fish oil. I do take extra vitamin C. I take a very particular brand of vitamin C, and now I'm not going to remember the name of it, but it's made out of food. It's made out of berries, and it's not an artificial fermented version of vitamin C, and I just love it, and I know that it has helped my skin tone, and it just is important for someone like me who has thyroid disease, who, you know, struggles with hormonal balance and having healthy adrenal glands, to make sure that my vitamin C level is really great. And then the bonus of this particular supplement is that I open up a capsule and I add it to a facial when I'm doing a facial, and it's just marvelous when you use it topically as well. So vitamin C and skin are really important together. And then, as I mentioned, collagen, which is technically a supplement, and I have found that it's really worth it. It's expensive, but you don't use tons of it every day, and it lasts quite a while, and it really does make a difference, particularly when I'm, you know, keeping a focus on having a good level of vitamin C in my diet. So vitamin C and collagen work together to keep your skin looking really beautiful. So anyway, I'll stop there. The other benefit I did want to mention of having really good nutrient density and having your vitamin levels be optimized is that provides you a lot of sun protection. So, you know, being nutrient deficient can really cause a lot of problems with sunburning, and perhaps even contribute to skin cancer risk. So having, you know, a diet that's really rich in nutrient dense foods means that you are protected from the sun as well. And I'm sure that is part of what contributes to the better skin that people who focus on nutrient density have. This is not the reason that people follow the autoimmune protocol, but if you follow a lot of AIP bloggers, which I do, and they're my friends, you will notice that they have incredibly beautiful skin. And it's almost a little bit confusing, because these are people who are dealing with really serious autoimmune diseases, but they look to be the picture of health, and they have this glowing skin. And the reason is that the autoimmune protocol is an incredibly nutrient dense diet. You're not drinking alcohol, you're not using caffeine, you're not eating sugar and flour and processed foods, and it shows up as great skin. So if you follow a lot of AIP bloggers, take a notice, take a look at that, and you'll notice that they really do have great skin, and that they age much more slowly than other people do. So anyway, I think they're kind of a perfect advertisement for the skin part of a nutrient-dense diet. Not totally the point of AIP, of course. There are more serious reasons to use it, but it is one of the nice byproducts. So anyway, all right, you guys, I am opening membership to Project Vibrancy Meals, my meal plans, next week. So I'll put a link below to projectvibrancymeals.com so that you make sure that you're on the waiting list, and then you can also try a free meal plan and see if batch cooking and making all this nutrient-dense food in a way that means that you have really fast meals during the week works for you. The free plan is super fun. I think you should give it a try. So I have a lot of links I'm going to be putting below. I'm doing the Food Reaction Freedom Group. I'm doing PVM. And I'll have to review this and remember what the others is. But give me a few minutes and I'll put the links underneath as soon as I wrap this up. So have a great afternoon, and I will be back next week. As always, if you have questions, let me know. Put them below or send me a note. Okay, you guys, take care. Bye.